Good evening, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Good Servant Show. Praise Jesus, our Lord and our hope, His grace to get us out of here. All right. Do I sound a little too eager to get out of here? I did look at my Facebook Messenger, Dee Dee. I did like that. Unless you put more stuff, then I'll check again. But I saw this morning's, and I got to go over some of that stuff to make sure I understand it right. But I think, from what I read, I feel happy about that. So let me say hi to everybody. Hello, Dee Dee, you were first. Hello, Michael, Tiffany. YOLO, right? You only live one. You only live once, right? Except for its eternity, right? Michael says Dolo. What is Dolo? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Um, Debbie's here and Lariva's here. Pepper's here. Everybody's here. Well, I feel good. I mean, like there's some okay, so I'm starting to learn that there are so if you type in like okay, you want to learn more about Jesus or you want to find pastors that are all about the truth or you never get what you search for. It's always some person with a lot of subscribers or they're not really serious, and it's weird. It's like you can never find really like more. I want more information. I'm hungry for more stuff. I want more videos that are just but real, not BS. And I know that you guys probably have that same craving. Like if there was more stuff about God, we would watch it. And so I'm starting to learn that like the few channels that we can find that are real, like real people that really are just wanting to talk truth and not all this mainstream. I mean, I can't even believe how there could even be a church out there that's not corrupt. I don't even know how that's even possible. I mean, I know there's good people that go to church, and there's probably big groups of people that go to big churches that are good, you know? And I'm not ever going to discount that, but it is like, yeah, it's just like, it's just, yeah, man, I'm not only are they drained, I'm drained from it, right? But what I'm learning is that, like, there's the channels that we do find that are real. There's people in the chat that also have channels, and I've been watching a couple of these people, and I'm not nothing yet where I could like um recommend anybody. Yeah, YouTube has been scrubbed, man. And I mean, either they're gone or they're like this one, it's like buried. And so there are some that I'm like finding that it's like they're like gems. Like I'm like, oh man, this. But I've also been in that situation where it's been too good to be true, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And then you recommend it, and then you find out the guy's racist or something crazy. And you're like, oh man, okay, forget it. you know and so like I don't want to be like surprised in a bad way about when they start, because I've never really recommended anybody. I mean, there's some people that I'll watch to because of their knowledge of the Bible and that they're smarter than me, but like I don't buy into their doctrine or any of that. It's like I read the Bible and I just accept it for what it says. I don't run into any arguments when I read it by myself, and so I'm going to stick with that. But yeah, it's like, how do we find these channels? I bet they're still there, but like, how do we find them? You know, there's just, yeah, they don't want the truth out there. They really don't. And that's why we're dangerous, you know, in a sense that that if we can form some kind of like, and I was trying to do this from like the very, not the very beginning of this channel, but like the beginning of when I got my calling. And um I would say that like I want to form like a web ring where um you know, we can support each other. And then when somebody comes in that's like good and truthful and knowledgeable, right? Like we have them in our ring, you know, and everybody does different stuff, right? Like maybe somebody is good at like, you know, showing you how to like prepare food. So that way, if there's some kind of situation, at least you won't die of starvation. I mean, there's a lot of better ways to die. And, you know, or maybe somebody's good at like, you know, I don't know, homeschooling or whatever, right? Just all these different things, right? And so, and so, uh, yeah, it's just like, I want to make sure that, you know, I mean, because it's like I don't get enough like stuff. Like I'll study the Bible the most out of everything, and that's probably how it should be. But I really would like some stuff in the middle to like break it up a little bit. You know, like people that I know, like immediately start listening to someone that I trust. You know, hard to find good, honest folks. I stick to those I've known a long time and stay in truth channels. Like, right, exactly, Pepper. But I mean, exactly. But see, and then here's the thing, right? Um, like I do talk to a lot of the subscribers, like during the day too, and so that helps me too, right? Because I mostly just listen when I'm taking phone calls. But you know, learning just from that, just from one-to-one contact, you know, and everybody knows something different, right? Or they're like, oh yeah, look, I stumbled on this that I thought was interesting, something that's, you know, I probably would have overlooked or whatever. And I don't know, the one thing that keeps sticking out to me is that God really says a lot of times in the Bible, don't be deceived, right? And it's enough times to get me to like pay attention, right? It's like, okay, well, I like the whole idea, like, you know, like um, even the very elect would be deceived if it were possible, which makes me think they're safe. If we're them, then that's good. But like, I'm just gonna basically hide under my bed, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that, right? But it like I don't want to make a mistake, you know what I mean? So bad, right? I'm gonna do a lot of praying. I won't hide under my bed, but it almost is like at that point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready now, God. You could just come back and get me now. And so, you know, I believe in in a pre-trib rapture, and I believe in the we're pre-millennial, but that doesn't mean that I'm not ready for if there's not. I'm definitely ready to be wrong about a lot of things. And I'm not totally dug in on things because there's things that I thought were like, no way, there's a 1% chance that that's true, and it ends up being true. And so I'm never ever gonna doubt like that there is some things out there that I mean, my little noodle brain, my little noodle brain after all the abuse and lies and uh, you know, ingredients in the food and water that right. I like how you said we built we have built-in radar. Yeah, we do. We do. And there's times where it's like I get more out of that where I'm like I feel that something's right or I can just feel that they're not lying or I feel like they're telling the truth and I can trust that more than I can trust any kind of fact checking that's available now. But I'm also at the point now where I'm also at the point now where I'm like thinking that like maybe even the history that we know, like how long it was and what happened, like maybe none of that is even true. It wouldn't surprise me if someone said there was no George Washington or something like that. Or if someone said that, I don't know, man. Nothing would surprise me at this point. I mean, what if we all find out we're in Genesis and the flood's coming? That's one thing I always bring up. Like, what if we're just like way early in the timeline and we get the whole Bible from the very beginning? Like, we don't know what these people have done to us and our people. And so, I mean, I do believe basically like they can't like hide all of history, and they can't like there is some stuff. There has to be some kind of structure, right? The Bible is definitely so huge, right? But yeah, don't get me started on George, right? But did you find out that there's all kinds of weird anomalies that make him like not true? It's like every picture you see of him, he's an old man. Like, was he ever a young guy? Like, I mean, like it's just odd, man. Or you see like one picture of Tesla and like you never see another one. It's like just it's not a bad picture of him, but it's like that same one. You know what I'm talking about too. And oh, you have a little wolf pup. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, oh, yeah, I bet he was Lariva. Like a lot of these, but they're all, Luciferian devil worshippers because they want you to believe that like they they found a new place to live to avoid taxes and to find a place to worship, like that they were the Christians running for, to find a place to worship and not be persecuted. Um, and that they were the ones trying to avoid taxes and stuff from the queen and all that. But in reality, right? They were the ones that probably got, I don't know, man, maybe they got kicked out of there. I don't know. Who knows what the story is, right? Maybe they were just the devil people and it's like, okay, enough of you people. But I mean, I would imagine it would be incredibly overwhelming from the very beginning, you know? Like there's like 99%, like, I mean, it's so overwhelmingly they outnumber us. And it's odd, right? Because like you wouldn't think that it could be possible. Human beings must have really been corrupted bad to get to a point where like people like get some kind of joy out of people suffering. Yeah, Holly's up there. She's right here. I don't know if you can see her or not. I know that people have been having trouble in my chat about not being able to see each other, and they haven't blocked each other, so I don't know what is going on. We might have some rogue wrenches out there. I don't know. I'm thinking about resetting them again. Hey, Holly. Oh, you're on your cell in cooking dinner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I've tried to have a good one. All glory to God if it is, right? But mostly it's the chat, right? And so, yeah, man, I'm just like the four presidents before. Yeah, I believe that too, right? Like like there was a whole bunch of like wasn't there like all this I don't want to say it the wrong way and sound insensitive, but there's a lot of like history of royalty and all that that we don't ever hear about in America because they want there to be some kind of one-sided view of like, I don't know, like they want us to think that like not everyone can be successful, right? But there's been royalty in every color, right? And everyone's been a king at some point. Everyone's been rich at some point, and everyone's been slaves at some point. And so it's kind of weird, how they take a subject like that that's like very sensitive and very serious, and then they like make it to where you can't talk about it, but then what you get is not really true. It's so horrible, right? Because then how do you ever bring it up to be able to fix it, right? To talk about it when they make it all sensitive. And so I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, just money in general is just, how did we ever fall for that? And then like, that's what gets me is that, like, way before I was born, they gave away all the shiny stuff in the world, right, for paper money. And like, oh yeah, here, hold all the shiny stuff in your vault, and then we'll just trade paper. Like, I didn't make that deal. Like, why do I gotta live with that just because some guy 200 years ago made that deal? I want all the shiny stuff back. I want all of it. And then, but now I don't even want that, right? Like, so it's, I don't know. I know there was a guy, a truther that I used to watch, and he said, yeah, they could base money on dog poop and it wouldn't matter. You know, I guess it just matters on what they think is valuable. And it really probably isn't even really about that. It's about holding us down. A one-way mathematical system where they always win. And it's just crazy. All right, let me catch up on this chat. Yeah, that one world order, yeah. The new world order. It's definitely happening. It's not a conspiracy anymore. I mean, I think like with just with the UN, I mean, it's like we should have known that it's pretty much like done deal. Like as soon as the UN, before we were born, people should have known it was happening. And then like a couple of world wars. Now, if those are true, right? I'm assuming they are. Then then that's two attempts at it. Because like these reasons for wars that they give us, I mean, I don't believe it. Like the reason for World War I was what, some archduke was assassinated. Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, they must really think we're stupid, you know? It's like there's already people here living in this country happily, and then some guy named Christopher Columbus discovers it even though there was people here. I mean, like if we went to like, like France or Germany and like said, "Okay, we discovered it." Like they wouldn't just like we wouldn't be able to just take over and then say that we found it in the first place. I mean, it's silly, right? It's silly on its best day that even if it is true, it's not. It's like goofy, right? And so there's never really any way to like, reconcile any of this stuff as if whether or not, you know, yeah, the world order's been happening for a long time. Yes. Luke says it took years of lies through generations for them to be this far. Yes, it's so far deep. Who knows how much history is real and who actually is organic and not just a character. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And it might be that. It might be just characters at this point, right? Just, I mean, sometimes I wonder if there's characters in our real life. Now, I don't like to go down. I don't like to go down the rabbit hole of like NPCs very often because it's uncomfortable, right? I mean, it's uncomfortable to think that there's any kind of creature created that is not, a fully functioning sentient being, right? It's sad, right? But then you wonder, like, there's just so many people that are just so. How could everyone be deceived like that? How could it be that many people? Like, truthers should be like, millions of people. I mean, if there's maybe like, I don't know, would you say there's a million truthers? And out of that, how many are Christians? Like it can't be that many because like it's like even the ones that have like 100,000, 500,000 subs, like we all subscribe to the same ones. Everyone here subscribed to KJ, and everyone here subscribed to A Call for an Uprising, right? Like even though those are even kind of like bigger, shillier, like truth channels, right? Like we're all subscribed to them, right? And so they all share us, right? So it's not like it's not like there's like millions and millions and millions of us. And it even puts it into question of how many people are really even in the world. And it would be spooky to like really find out that there's not that many people. You know, like maybe that number that the Georgia Guidestones came up with really isn't that far off. And yeah, and Luke makes a good point. Who knows how far the ladder goes down? Because you can go into like you can go into like you know, like the Kmart mailer, right? And there's one eye symbolism in there, you know? And so you're like, well, not every, young model at you know, for a Kmart ad can be in the Illuminati. I mean, what's going on, right? Or is it that deep, you know? Like, could be. And Rob says, some people you talk to and the slightest mention of any truth, and you can watch their eyes glaze over. I get the sense that many of these people are NPCs. And see, I think about that too, but I don't want to like, because it seems to offend people when you bring that kind of thing up. And here's the thing: I know that the truth is offensive in general. Yeah, or they snap at you. You're right about that. Or it's like I watched this one truther and he says it's called like a download, right? It's like it's like they give you all these like canned like excuses for why things are the way they are, you know? It's like, why didn't the astronauts take any pictures of the Earth? Oh, well, they didn't bring enough film, obviously. They had to document the moon. You know, it's like these excuses that they have no way of like checking or even knowing if it's true, right? Yeah, they laugh at you like you're crazy, even though it's like some things are just obvious, you know? Like if you fly a drone, right? You have a drone, right? And it's hovering right above you, like say it's 3 feet above your head, and you're just hovering this drone, and you're having a good time, and you're watching the sunset. Well, the sun moves away from both of them, but only one of you is on the ground, and so like it can't be like that the Earth is spinning backwards for you, and that the drone is still and the sun's moving for the drone, right? It's one or the other, you know. And so yeah, to me that's obvious, right? Like that to me that's, you know, this whole idea that the air is like somehow connected to the ground makes no sense to me at all. Like that it's in lockstep, like because you know how fast things would have to be going, like way up, like high, like because it's a bigger circle. It's like way faster. It's craziness. And Rob says any mention of Jesus, flat Earth, or global agenda, and it's almost like you get the Microsoft blue screen of death. They totally glitch out. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. And it's like that on here too. If we talk about that stuff here, we get shadow banned. I get strikes for talking about that stuff. We get technology problems that other streams don't get. I mean, I've seen streams go 21 hours with no problems at all, and all they talk about is, you know, bathroom humor and, you know, and all this other kind of stuff that's not really even funny anymore. You know, it never really was funny to begin with. And you know, now that like we're on this side of salvation, it's like, okay, well, even then I was like maybe out of my mind, you know, to laugh at anything like that. And now the jokes that they have on TV are just offensive. It's just depravity, absolute depravity. And it's like, who know? I mean, everything is upside down. It's backwards, you know. But I was watching this guy today, and if it turns out to be pretty good, it's only a couple of live streams in. If he turns out to be pretty good, then I'll start recommending him. You know, if I think it's good, but or offline I will for sure. And he was saying something like, "Don't totally invert the devil, though. Like if something's happening, don't just assume that if you do the opposite, that that's what it is, because the devil lies too. And so like it could already be inverted, and then you invert it, and then it gets inverted backwards. I don't know. Does that make any sense? The entire world has been inverted. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. And then they put out these trigger words like that, right? That like just trigger people. I mean, flat Earth triggers people, but I mean, in reality, I just don't believe it's a ball flying through the air. Like, I don't know if it's completely flat. I know that there's no curvature, but like, I mean, who knows what it is? It could be, I don't know. Who knows what it is? You know, it's just not a ball. That's what it's not. And yeah, sometimes he tells the truth. You're right about that, 1984. Sometimes he tells the truth and it really messes things up. And so there's no like real pattern, right? And so every time you find like some kind of advantage or pattern or way to kind of like divine the future a little bit, it's some kind of like occultic practice that we're not allowed to do. Not that I want to do these things, but you know, any kind of advantage I can have over the enemy, I'd want to have it, or any way for me to be able to tell um, them from us and what their intentions are, you know, because it's like I don't even know why there's even public schools anymore. You would think that, I mean, it's crazy to me. They're grooming children in public schools right now. I mean, I never thought in a million years that anybody would ever let anything like that like take place. And it's just it's insanity, man. I mean, even teaching us sex ed when we were in school, like high school, that was a big deal. I mean, there was a kind of a good deal of controversy over it. And now we're talking about kids as young as third grade, second grade. That's crazy, man. And yeah, we need those They Live glasses. That's for sure, Luke. Like that movie with Roddy Piper. And even he joked on Twitter that it was a documentary. And do you know how crazy we look when we go to people and say, yeah, it's just like They Live, you know? And like we're talking about a movie that to them is absurd, right? But to us, we know that the world is absurd. And how do we, you know, that's the whole thing. How do we wake people up or convince people or, um, you know, get people across a certain threshold, right? Or a certain line, because truth comes in like segments. You know, I couldn't learn all of it in one day. I would have flipped out. I mean, even at the fast pace that I learned it at was pretty slow, and I had to be sure about a lot of it before I started telling other people, because some of it was like, I'm like, oh, that's just too embarrassing, man. Like, there's no way that that can be true. Is it really? I'm gonna look like a straight fool, you know. But maybe that's part of the test, right? Maybe that's part of the test. I don't know. And you know, maybe it's just life itself is its own test, right? That's maybe even separate than, you know, because I know that God doesn't require us to pass anything here except to find him, to believe in him, and to trust him, right? Have faith. And it just, I mean, I couldn't be more in love with God right now, you know? Yeah, they're teaching sex ed to 9-year-olds. That's crazy to me. That's abuse right there. Because I had no idea what that even was, right? And I was abused by it was either my uncle or my grandfather, and I had no idea what sex was at the time. But in hindsight, I know what was happening, you know. And if it wasn't for me not knowing just how bad that was, right? I probably would have been in some kind of like real bad shock. Like it probably would have ruined my childhood. Yeah, it is abuse. It is abuse. And I think that like because if you think about it, right? I mean, compared to eternity, I mean, we're all babies. I mean, we're all just babies. None of us know anything, to be honest. If we're really being, you know, for real and honest with ourselves. There's some things that have taken me a long time to learn, and I'd like to hold on to them pretty tight. But if I get convinced that something else is real, then I'll let that go, you know. Because if you follow the truth all the way to the end, I mean, if you haven't found God yet, you will, because Jesus is the truth, right? And so it's like that the only way to profit from the truth is to go all the way. Other than that, it's a hard life, you know. And if you think about like how people treated Jesus, I mean, it's like just like a truther, right? Like, I mean, some people loved him, some people didn't want to hear it. Most people didn't want to hear it, scared of the truth, really. Um, but thank God for him, you know. Thank God for him. Oh, is Industry Plant here? He's usually only here in the mornings. I don't see him, so that's weird if he's here, because if he's here, I don't see him. He found a way to get out from underneath me again. Knowing that you don't know much is a good step to start knowing things. No, you're right. No, you're right. And I mean, and it works. It works even more so. Like the more that you learn, right? The more that you know, the more you're like, oh wow, there's a whole nother like level of stuff that I have no clue about. I have to start all over again. Tiffany says, "Are you scared we are going towards the third World War, especially after that?" Well, I'm not really. I'm not scared of the fact that there's going to be World War, but I don't want people to get hurt. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, I am scared for people getting hurt, but I know that God has a plan, and I trust Him, and I know that hopefully, the way the design is, that it'll bring a lot of people to God. Oh yeah, and that we're becoming a third world country too. I mean, both things are on the brink, you know. Yeah, I would say we're not scared, but I'd also say that that's a good point, Deb, but I would also say that none of us want anyone to get hurt, that's for sure. I know you would agree with me on that. It's just, they pin us in a corner like that, and if we didn't have, because like in this group, it's probably a lot of people have a lot of empathy, and we feel pain for other people, and that's not a trait that everybody has, and I had to learn that the hard way, that not everybody, they only feel their half. Like there's most people just feel their selves and not you at all, and they're not doing it on purpose. It's just part of them, it's not part of them to have empathy, a lot of it. Fax is saying, so this is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. That's my favorite verse. uh, uh, verse 6, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Yes, absolutely, because that's my whole, like, so for a long time, people wanted me to define my belief in salvation or anything biblically, right? And I could never get it right where everyone was happy. And when I read it, I just believe what it says. But everyone will tell you that. So I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm like, well, I'm not going to lean on my understanding of anything, right? That verse in Proverbs is like a lifesaver, right? Because I'll show you where all the stuff about salvation is, and if you go to God and ask Him to guide you, He will. And every time you feel insecure, go straight to God. Don't go to the next person that'll tell you what you want them to hear, or vice versa. If I'm saying that wrong. Just go straight to God, and it's a relationship, you know? I don't even worry about salvation now because I just want to help other people with theirs, you know? Not that I know anything more than anyone else. I just love God so much, and I know that he loves you. You know what I mean? And if I was in the center of the world, I'd only be worried about like what made me feel good. But I know that God loves you and me and wants us to love each other. And he's in the center of the world, right? And so that's a hard thing to grasp as an American for sure, right? Because we grow up thinking we're the star of the movie. You wake up and everything's revolving around, us. The world is around us, but in reality, the center is way out there somewhere, and we're on the edge of it, you know. And 1984 says they call a ritual born again. Hmm, that's interesting. Expand on that a little bit so I can get a better understanding of that. And Dev says, oh yeah, being sympathetic. Oh yeah, that's what empathy is. Yes, very good. Thank you, Deb. Like being able to feel for them, walking a mile in their shoes. Yep, exactly. Yeah, it is. It is. Being able to like if I hurt your feelings, I immediately hurt because I hurt your feelings. But there's people that don't like you're sometimes I used to wonder, I'm like, are you hurting me on purpose? Like I would never do this to you. Like how could you say you love me and then just, because I would be more considerate to that other person, right? And I had no idea that not everyone is the same inside, you know? I'm like, oh, well, everybody has different gifts, I guess, now, like it's easy to understand. And some things are more rare than I thought they were. And absolutely, Debbie, what do you need prayers with? I'll pray for you for sure. I didn't see what you, yeah, just let us know what you need. And, well, you know what else is rare, and I was very surprised about this. Um, okay, let's see here. There's a rebirth in psychology for those with trauma. The person goes through a fake birth canal as an adult. It's bizarre. I heard of it when researching trauma therapy. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Wow, I didn't know that. But one thing that I learned that was rare that I was surprised by was an inner monologue, right? That it's not common to have an inner monologue of, thoughts about what's going on and during the day and all that. Like we all have it, right? Because of course sympathetic people have it. But it's not common. It's really not that common. And so I asked I asked somebody, I said, well, what happens when your boss comes up and says, you have to work late? Do you think, oh, here we go again, this guy, it wants me to do this and that? And no, the guy said no, he just gets frustrated and then goes to work, and there's no thought about like, oh, this is traffic, or I better go pick up some flowers today. Like none of that. Like people don't start thinking till you interact with them. To me, that's weird, man. You mean you're thinking nothing until I walk up to you? I mean, I don't know, man. And I Googled it. Now I don't know if you could trust Google, but it is what it is. That's what it said. And I was surprised by that. They call it an internal monologue. Oh, I'm so sorry, Debbie. You're struggling with some depression. A lot of times, when would go through a lot of depression, it would be because of what I'm thinking about. If I could find a pattern of thinking that didn't focus on things that made me upset, you know. And Rob says, yeah, most people don't have the ability to reflect on anything. They just react to things. MPC alert. Yeah, that's what made me start thinking about it even more. Yeah, Google it. Google it right now. And so it's just say, is it common for people to have a inner monologue or internal monologue? Is that how it was? Not, is it monologue? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Or internal narrative. I don't know. One of the two. It's either internal narrative or internal monologue. Probably an internal monologue. Oh, Holly's doing some serious prayers there. Oh, that's great. I saw your message at first, Didi. I will go over there and check it out. I think it was I saw what you put this morning, if that's what was there. And I liked it. I'd like to talk to you more about it. I just gotta figure a time. Now I got my kid here with me. And so I haven't been taking as many calls now. But oh yeah, the key. Yeah, I need to finish reading that. Yes, so I need to finish reading that. Thank you for putting that out there. I did read some of those screenshots, but and I saw the video that you put out yesterday. She says it's at 5G. It's got the world weather and world order. Yeah, who knows, right? I mean, I know this that information is not. It's not magic, right? It's stuff that has to travel through the air. So there's all this information flying through the air. So for me to text you stuff, whatever it is, has to fly from here to where you are. And so it's in waves, right? Now it's in these 5G millimeter waves or whatever they're called. And so it's like slowly being microwaved, right? The faster you want your internet, the hotter the microwave gets. And I guess that's why people don't want it to be, a lot of people are against it. But I would think we're going to die of something else way before. It sounds like it would take 200 years to get microwaved by the internet. But I bet they put these things out as like psyops, or like just ways to divide us one way or the other. And I remember like 5 6 years ago when I used to watch TV a lot, maybe even a year longer than that, but um I would go to the VA hospital a lot and like hang out in the waiting room and talk to the guys. It was one of my favorite things to do. And most of the time they'd all be talking about what they saw in the news, like word for word, repeating it, you know? And it's like they would repeat like the guy they liked on the news, and as if it was their own point, like as if they were smart and came up with it themselves. And it was kind of scary, it's like, wow, like what is the world coming to? Like, it is programming. And then now that I know what all this stuff is, right, what TV and internet and everything, how they divide us and how they get us to believe in one thing or another, you know it's it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think, like, why didn't I see that before? That all we did was repeat the news to each other, or all we did was repeat what happened in last night's game. Now, see, I don't know. Like, I've heard that that's where depression comes from, but I don't know, right? Like, I don't know that. So maybe you guys know better than me. Now, I've been on like they put me on like what do they call them? The serotonin drugs or whatever. When I got out of the army for a long time, and I just recently got to the point where I'm not taking them in the morning anymore. I mean, just really recently. So it was a long time, 15 years or more, that I was on that stuff. And so I don't know, right? Like, I just know that whatever it says in the Bible, I believe that. And so if you guys know, that's great. Because I'll tell you what, the more and more I read the Bible, and then I hear somebody say something from it that I don't know, and it baffles me, right? And then I go and look, and it's there, and I'd never seen it before, you know. And you're like, what? How is this happening? It's happened to me a couple times, and oh, I'm sorry. I talk too much. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to make it hard for you to listen. But it is time to hit that old dusty trail. And I will say this. Thank you guys for coming out. Big crowd today. And hopefully it will be, hopefully things will change, I think, in the next couple weeks. I think I'll be getting more help back, and we'll have better shows, you know. And so you guys just had me for the last couple of weeks, and so thanks for making it through with me. And I just want to say that this is, you know, this is by far the best part of my day, you know, other than talking to God, you know, talking to you guys about God, right? And or the world, right? What to watch out for. But so thank you guys. God bless you. And praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace. All glory to God because he deserves it. Please pray for the children. Please pray for anyone being victimized out there. And please pray for each other because it's important. And please, oh yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, if Lord willing, tomorrow at 7 a.m. Father Son Pancake Breakfast. Yeah, Rob. I know. I wish, man. That's what I need to do that with my kid. Thanks for saying that. I'm gonna try to do that. Yeah, you snuck that one in, Rob. I need to have that. All right, I'll see you guys later. God bless you.